Reimagining Success, episode 194.
You're listening to Reimagining Success, the podcast where we help you reimagine your future, designing a life and career beyond the 9 to 5 that allows you the freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment that you've been dreaming of. I'm your host, Anna Lundberg. Now, let's get started on those dreams.
Hello there and welcome back as we continue to talk about designing flexible work-life integration, which is my pillar 5 of my 5 pillars of designing and building a life outside the 9 to 5. Now, last week we talked about designing a lifestyle business, so do check out that episode if you haven't already. And I said, I should probably do an episode on work-life integration. Now, of course, having almost come up to 200, I already have that episode. So it is episode 89 from August 2020. If you go back to that, you can find it on the website, of course. You can go to reimaginingsuccesspodcast.com and filter for all the episodes, in fact, on Pillar 5, Work-Life Integration. Or you can go to onestepoutside.com/episode 89, because we're clever like that. So that's the idea of why work-life balance is so ubiquitous, but totally illogical, and I don't think very helpful, and why work-life integration is a better concept for me. Now, in terms of what that means, by the way, before we continue on today, although very much on the same vein, for me, work-life integration in a nutshell is building a career and a lifestyle that you'd be happy to maintain for the rest of your life, right? So we're no longer working hard, hustle in the factory and then counting down the months, the years to retirement, and then sitting down and gardening and enjoying the rest of our life. Necessarily, if that's what you want to do, that's fine too. We're getting pretty creative. We're designing solutions that work for us personally, that aren't necessarily fitting in the mold of, the classic 9 to 5 corporate structures. And importantly, integration to me signifies that we're creating synergies and harmony rather than accepting that inevitable trade-off, the black and white. Either you have work going well or you have life, right? So it's more synergies and harmony. And of course, technology and increasing moves towards hybrid working, 4-day working weeks and so on, they're as yet unproven, but so far looking pretty promising, even within the corporate world, right? So that's something to bear in mind. Now, that for me is work-life integration. Again, onestepoutside.com/episode 89 to listen more to that. But today I wanted to talk about something very similar, which came up in a work-life integration workshop I did for an American company a few weeks ago, which is about designing a life that you don't need a vacation from. A life you don't need a vacation from. And I'm going to already put it out there that I'm not saying you shouldn't take vacations. I'm 100% saying you should, you can. Yes, you should. That is a should. Even when you've designed an amazing lifestyle business that you love. The point is, you shouldn't rely on those escapes, right? In the same way, I guess we shouldn't be, drowning our sorrows in bottles and bottles of wine and whiskey every night. We shouldn't be escaping into any other addictions for that matter. Whatever that looks like, food, indulging in donuts every night. That's not solving the underlying problem, right? So if you are feeling that dread that creeps in, Sunday evening, a reluctance to dragging your body out of bed and onto your commute, if you're now commuting again, the Monday morning, when I look back at my posts on Facebook, because Facebook Memories really likes to prompt you with your past self. It was always, TGIF every Friday and the Monday feeling on the Monday. And that was even when I enjoyed my work. So, it is a very accepted cultural norm of how we see our weeks, right? And then we count the hours until the end of the day. We count the days until the end of the week. We count the weeks until our next vacation holiday. And the problem is that basically we're creating this vicious cycle, and we're, again, not solving the underlying problem, right? So we're planning expensive vacations, we're buying nice things, thanks to the great salary that we've got, hopefully, in our hardcore job. But that's compensating. We're trying to reward ourselves for the stressful and potentially unfulfilling, but well-paid work that we're doing. we're becoming trapped in that cycle of spending money to feel better, right? And then, of course, needing the money that we're earning to sustain that high level of spending. And then again, we're essentially ending up putting off life until later. Once I've earned this amount, once I've got that promotion, once I've retired, then we can enjoy life. And so now by then, if you have kids, the kids will be grown up. If you're any kind of human being, you will have aged. You may well, unfortunately, be ill in some way or form. You certainly will have missed out on a lot of amazing things if you've been hustling, pushing yourself, burning out essentially. And what you've done, of course, is created that classic set of golden handcuffs, or maybe not so golden, the golden cage from which you can't see any way out, right? So we're relying on holidays and expensive things and escaping into hopefully nothing too unhealthy and so on, but into, let's say, binging on TV every night just to escape, which, is totally fine. And I enjoy a bit of that too. But if that's your only joy is kind of, oh, I don't want to talk about work, it's too hard, it's too horrible and so on, and it's a toxic workplace and you really are pushing yourself so much with no light at the end of the tunnel, then perhaps that's not where you want to be, right? I have to repeat again, I'm sure I've shared it before, but it keeps coming up this quite controversial moment early on in my relationship with my partner when we were on holiday. And we just mentioned it again the other day. It wasn't a big deal to me, but clearly it was for him. So he was in a 9-to-5 at the time, which, he kind of did and enjoyed, and he had amazing perks and fantastic colleagues, and he's such good friends still with the amazing people he's worked with over the years. But we were on holiday together by the beach, and he was shocked and appalled by the fact that I was lying there apparently disengaged, working on something in my notebook. From my side, this was the moment that I think that was during my nomadic days, relatively new to the business. And I still love doing this now, by the way. If at any moment I have the chance, I would sit down with a pen and paper or whiteboard or whatever and map out strategies. I just love it. But I was envisioning, I was planning. It was those moments, by the pool, in the garden, wherever, that are so powerful in terms of really having that clarity of thought and having the time to look at the big picture, work on your business, as they say, not in your business and so on. And yet this was so shocking to him because for him, vacation was getting away from, I guess, your hard, horrible job and relaxing. And you must read a novel or you must, go and do nothing by the pool. So while I want to be empathetic and understanding of other people's perspectives, and again, it's so important to disconnect, for me, the whole point of the very big part of my business is that I love my business. I'm so passionate about the mission. I'm so excited about the clients I'm working with and so on. And I always have new ideas, whether it's a book or a course or a workshop or content to post. And it's all so relevant and important because it's so connected to every conversation I have with anyone that's something that really drives me, and it's really central to who I am. And again, integration is not about blurring those boundaries completely and not having any boundaries at all. And it's not about working on your holidays. It's not about not taking holidays and so on. However, there is an element of not needing that break because I'm already building those breaks into my day. And the work itself is not such a drain because, I wouldn't be sitting there doing my expenses unless I'd scheduled that, or rather not scheduled it, left it until the last second. I wouldn't be doing like really boring admin on my holiday. But if it's having a chance to reflect on the big picture, then yes, absolutely, I would like to do that. Now, of course, I can choose not to do that so as not to anger my partner and people with me. But, that's my stance on it, I suppose. So, of course, what that life looks like for you will be very individual. And we talked about that last week with the lifestyle business. The whole point is that you need to define success for you. But I think we can all agree on a few things, which includes at least feeling excited to start your week every Monday morning. And perhaps it's not Monday morning, not counting the hours. I'm not now, certainly when I'm waiting for the kids to come home, I'm super excited to see them in the evening, but I'm not saying, oh, I can't wait until 6 o'clock when I'm going to leave the office, because I'm loving this time. It's precious to me during the day. It's time to myself. It's time to be a career businesswoman and not just a parent. It's, being able to have a coffee or go to the loo by myself, which is very enjoyable. So for me, it's not about counting the hours until the end of the day or the weekend, which of course is wonderful too. by the way, my kids are at nursery Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. So Tuesdays are pretty special days. We went to Paulton's Park and Peppa Pig World the other week. We've got Farmer Palmer's, which is a local farm here as well. I love those kinds of activities to do. And that's sort of midweek, shock horror, on a work day. And for me, it's not a work day. So Tuesdays, Fridays, and of course the classic weekend at the moment, Saturday, Sunday, are time off. But again, I'm not sort of counting the minutes until I can finally turn off my computer. If anything, I kind of want to keep going, but I don't. So for me, that's an important part of it. Being excited to start your work week, whenever that work week starts, having a clear sense of purpose, and as I do, having that meaning in the work that I'm doing, right? Doing what you love and loving what you do, as they say. Of course, there are things you don't enjoy, you might not love, at least initially, showing up on video and doing content posts and whatever. You might not love getting your head around the techie stuff or doing all the accounting, admin, and so on. But the core work of what you do is something that you love and that you really want to be doing. Then, of course, it is about having the time and energy to spend with the people who matter most, to spend on the things that matter most. So I'm now making sure that I'm exercising. This morning I had a super slow start. It took me about an hour and a half, well, after kids, etc., not even including that in my morning, to go for quite a long run and to do a workout outside in the garden, to shower, to settle down into my emails and so on. So I didn't get started until sort of 9:15, 9:30, even though I was up at 5:30. But that was really important to me, right? Last night I played tennis. Again, something I really enjoy. I'm learning a new skill. I'm finally in my life learning proper tennis strokes and things, which is very exciting, and I'm really enjoying it. And then ultimately, it's a feeling of alignment, I think, that you're doing exactly what you want to be doing right now. You are where you should be, right? So the question is, how does that sound to you? What does that kind of life look like for you? Are you living it now? And if not, how would that be? How would it feel to be living this life right here, right now? Because for most of us, that sounds pretty amazing. And yet there are so many things that can be stopping us, right? We might have lost touch with what we do love to do, right? Because we've been doing this particular career for so long that we don't know what would be meaningful and fulfilling work. We might, excuse me, I just kicked something under my desk if you heard that. You might know what you want, but it seems so impossible and so far removed from what you're doing now that you just don't know how to get there. Or maybe you do know what you want, you even think you know what you need to do, but you're still not taking action because, again, and topic for another podcast, and I have many on this topic, but there are so many reasons why you might be procrastinating: the fear, the lack of confidence, the lack of time, of course, which we all have because we're not clear actually on exactly what we need to be doing and so on. So it's really important to understand what is getting in the way as well. But so what can you do if you do want to create that life? Well, again, it starts with, what would that life look like? So designing that, what is success to you? But more importantly, maybe what makes you happy? What could that life look like? What do you most enjoy doing? What does your ideal day look like? When are you in flow? What excites you? Describe that, imagine it, visualize it, right? Having that really clear vision has to be the first step for working out a plan for how to get there. However, really importantly, and I maybe don't say this enough, although my whole brand is based on the concept that one step outside, the point is you don't have to take a leap. You don't have to quit your job today and move to Bali and become a yoga instructor, right? You can take little steps in the direction of where you want to be, knowing that I'm not in the place today where I can quit my job. However, if I start doing X, Y, Z, if I start learning this, if I work with a coach, for example, or if I, whatever it is, then if and when I want to leave my job next year, then I'll be in a much better position because I'll have a clear idea, I'll have done all the maths, and I'll even have started building an audience perhaps and so on, right? So that's one thing you can do. You can take small steps in that direction. But also super important is that you can bring elements of that big picture vision into your life today. So I always think of, if you want to be a best-selling author, maybe you can't do that right today, but what can you do? You can write, for example, right? So that already brings elements of being an author. You can write, you can publish articles on your own blog. You can self-publish books if you want. You can even create a little mini book to get started, right? If I want to live by the sea, maybe I can't right away move and buy a house in Fiji, But I can, first of all, as we have done, move down to Dorset on the south coast of England. But I can also go for a weekend and spend a day by the sea. Years ago, I took the day off to go to, well, I took the day off, it was probably a Saturday even. I went to Brighton for the day, which is by the sea, You can spend some time on the sea. You have to think about what is it about that vision that you love and how can you bring more elements of it into your life today. If you want to be fitter and healthier, there's a vision of, oh my gosh, I want to look like this, feel like this, have lost that and be stronger and to be an amazing tennis player and whatever. But what can I do already now? Well, I can already start playing tennis now because then in a couple of years, I might actually be good enough to play with my partner and my friends and so on. I can start just going for longer walks over lunch. So I get a bit more fresh air and I get a few steps, aiming for those. A couple of years ago, I was aiming for sort of 4,000, 5,000 steps, and that was a struggle. And now I'm doing, on average, 12, 15, usually on a good day, good week. So number one, how can you take small steps in the right direction? And how can you bring elements, number two, of that big vision into your life already today? And then, of course, you do need to take action. So take that tiny little step, whatever it is. Come on over to the Escaping the 9 to 5 Facebook group, where we'll be doing workshops on this. We'll be talking, of course, about how to design that lifestyle business. I have a lot of free resources as well as a program for you to work with me if you want to make progress more quickly. And that's a great first step to take. Another step is to continue listening to this podcast. If you've just come across this episode, then subscribe. Make sure you don't miss an episode. There's a new episode every Monday these days, so a weekly episode. And in particular now, as we record in August 2022, you'll be getting lots of episodes on this topic of work-life integration. So if this is appealing to you, it's a great time to be listening. And of course, you can always go ahead if you do want to move forwards with me and at least understand what the options are, how I could help you. You can tell me a little bit about your situation and we can talk about what I can do to help you design that life you don't want a vacation from, you don't need a vacation from, but you will nonetheless take a vacation from as and when you want to. Then you can go ahead and book a call. So onestepoutside.com/call, onestepoutside.com/call. Thanks so much for listening. And here's to living that life that you don't need a vacation from. See you next week. Are you looking for a way to quit your job to work for yourself? Do you want to translate your skills and passions into a profitable and enjoyable business that allows you to escape the 9 to 5 for good? The Outsiders Business Incubator is my longest running program and will give you the coaching and mentoring, structure and accountability, and community and support that you'll need in order to execute your escape out of your corporate job and into working for yourself, so that you can create the freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment that you're dreaming of. Check it out and join us at onestepoutside.com/9 to 5. That's onestepoutside.com/9 TO 5.